Cue music. And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the FrontLines and the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. We are here in the heat of battle, and I'm not joking. It's very hot here, probably close to 100 a day. So forgive me for have to take a break. So uh, wipe down my forehead or something like that because it is really, really hot here, and it is really, really hot in this war against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys. So today I entitled this, basically future proofs past the first days of QAnon, because I was reminded by the current QAnon proofs that are being that have come up the posts, and the going back to the very beginning, I did a review and I said, everything from the first few days of QAnon, everything is what's happening right now. And if you go back and you really, and we're going to go through this, and we're going to just look at the first few days, everything that came out, and how relevant it is to right now, and about how this is actually the end of the road, because it's come full circle. We started here basically at the end of October 2017, and we're here now at this point where everything that it was said at that point is now happening right now. Back then we said, well, it could happen, this could happen, it really put it out there for us as like, this could happen. In fact, we had hope that it would happen right then. Not 3 years later, but right then. Could it actually happen then? No. And the reasons were clear. The people were asleep. They were put into literally more than sleep, coma. They were so far deep under this spell, and spell is correct, of the deep state media, right? Of Hollywood, of the cabal infrastructure, the money system. Everything was entrapping and keeping everyone in a state of enslavement of your mind and of your actions, and what you could do or not do. So I want to take a moment to think about how far we've come before we go back to the future, and saying that we started on this road. I didn't. I noticed QAnon in the very beginning. I didn't start reporting on it until probably about really 6 to 8 months after it had really started. Right. I might have mentioned it maybe twice, but really, it was such interesting to see how much. Yeah, these guys must be insiders of some sort. But the one thing that was missing in order to make this happen for the world was our own voice. We had no way of really voicing what we wanted to say. Of course, we were in social media. It was very disorganized. We didn't have, we were going up, if you look at it, a mainstream media that got 4 a.m. talking points. And they repeated it word for word across. Yesterday, I pointed out how Anderson Cooper and I'm drawing a blank of the guys. I don't even want to think about these guys on CNN. Joe Acosta, right? And they were fighting for who got to say the talking point first, right? They each wanted to say it, right? Little rivalry between them, I'd say. Maybe, they should both get a room. But these talking points are repeated and repeated and repeated across all of news. No matter what city you're in, what town, you're going to tune into one channel and they're saying exactly the same thing. It's programming, literally programming your thought. Well, we had no way of speaking, right, in unison. But QAnon has given that to us. So that's why it's taken time. We've had to develop to where, by the way, we're launching our own news platform within this next day, right? It's the United News Channel. So we are, looking at spreading the word in a more professional manner. We've had to get to this point. Daily broadcasts. I would, if I said I was going to start daily broadcasts, and I said, nah, maybe 5 days a week, maybe, but daily, no. But this is a wartime situation. We have to do things that are uncomfortable. We have to put ourselves out there, and that's what we've been doing. So we have our voice now, and we're going to amplify it. But right now, this is a good time to take a blast from the past. Take a look at what's been going on. Now, I'm just going to start with something that has that kind of keyed me into it. First of all, this was from a tweet from Julian's Run. And it was just, boom, 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 boom. A week to remember, dark to light, blackout necessary. Well, what was the blackout, right? Well, that is the question. What is the blackout? Well, the White House is blacked out. There's lights on the outside and on the flag up above, right? And it says down at the bottom, dark to light. So, but what did this mean for in regards to everything else that we've been working on, right? What does this totally mean? Because we have a lot going on with QAnon. Let me just realign this a little bit. There we go. So it takes us right to here. So this is what we're talking about is post 4389, dark to light, blackout necessary. Why is the blackout necessary? What is going on? Well, we're gonna go through just a little bit of the latest post before we go back to the past, right? Because you're gonna see how we're being referred back to the past, right? So even this one is June 3rd, 2018. Well, what is today? Well, June 3rd? Well, that would be called a 2-year delta. A week to remember, dark to light. So why are they telling us this? So and this one, blackout necessary, dark to light, week to remember. Well, this is the start. It's what we've been waiting for. This is the start. It's the start of arrest, the start of basically taking back the country. Everything was prep, setting the stage, setting the table, getting your popcorn ready, however you want to look at it. So let's move on. So 4390, the light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of wicked is extinguished. So that's amazing in itself, right? You know, we're getting our biblical references. We've had Trump up there holding a Bible. We'll get there. So Q foreshadowed the Antifa uprising and military response back on October 31st, 2017. Q proof. Worth remembering. So yes, we're going to see. This is why I'm saying we're going to go back to the past. This is the very beginning. We'll look at the tweet that he's referring to. Q does it's amazing interweaving of what's going on. So the last several days of Antifa attacks against the White House and other targets in Washington, D.C., and this photo of military police standing on the steps of Lincoln Memorial reminded me of something very important. A news article from July 2019. So that's pretty impressive, right? Not going to come here and loot. So Army lets slip that it is conducting secret operations around D.C. Well, that dated July 22nd, 2019, a year ago, right? Well, not quite, but getting close. So what is actually going on back then, right? Was Wayne trying to tip off Antifa and planners of current insurrection? Right? Here's a document revealing the U.S. Army's mysterious mission in Washington, D.C. So, was there something going on back then by the military dealing with Antifa? Interesting. So let's go up here. So now it's referencing the 14th post, military intelligence state secrets. All right, so this one is the total. This one is 4393. Q told us from the start the only way is the military, and that's his number Q26. And Antifa Soros is the justification. Remember Durham boat. This boat is called a Durham boat. What happened at this time when the Q started, the very first Q post? Durham, the investigator, started. SCIF, military intelligence, so they're talking about military intelligence. So, okay, full circle. Why is Antifa allowed to operate? What happens if Soros-funded operations get violent and engage in domestic terrorism? Well, they're labeled as such. They are labeled as terrorists. How about that one? What happens if mayors and police comms and chiefs do not enforce the law? Well, we see that, right? We see certain governors and mayors are really taking a step back. They want their cities to burn. Why? Crazy, isn't it? Think recent events, right? You have more than you know. We have more than we know. Let's move forward. Okay, 4394. Over 2 years ago, Q told us that there would be riots and military control, and the best is yet to come. So this is June 2nd, right? 2020. So Trump is now, this is like yesterday. The best is yet to come. We're ready, right? We are definitely ready. All right, let's move up. This one, okay, 4395. Cuban military intelligence have been planning this moment, the Antifa insurrection, right? They've been planning for it. Antifa mapping started a long time ago. This is May 31st of 2020. So, what have they been doing? Mapping, contact tracing. I wonder if they use the same contact tracing apps that they're trying to get monitor all the Conjob 19 people who have been vaccinated. Well, of course, we haven't been vaccinated yet, at least not in America. So here we go. Now reread this, right? But even before the riots exploded across the United States in the aftermath of George Floyd's death, all right, even before, federal and local officials have long been investigating the inner workings and the revenue stream of anarchist left-wing outfit. And arrest among the highest ranks may be imminent. This is it. The arrests are imminent. Intelligence sources pointed out that the indictments have been for some time, and a close examination of funding revenues remains under the microscope. So they're finding out how are they getting money, right? While Antifa operates as some of the leaderless militant wing, sources closely engaged in this matter said that they are identified top brass diving and inciting criminal activity. So the leaderless militant wing, right? They do have leaders, they do have controllers, they do have those people, though they're avoiding a hierarchical structure, right? They have people with certain jobs, but it's not they're not really creating a hierarchy. So, and they're looking at how the money is flowing to them. Well, we know that a lot of that's also from the I showed you the protest site about two days ago. Hey, become a protester and you can make $7,000 in a week. Right? Organizing and bring other people together. You can make a lot of money doing it, right? They're paying a lot. So $25 an hour is one of the newest things that I've seen until June 13th, I think it was, something like that. Anyway, but they were going to do that every night, and they want chaos, and it was in a Craigslist ad. That was something I saw earlier today. So that's what they want, right? Let's move forward. So here we have God Wins, photo of Trump holding the Bible. Really got the mainstream media, to go nuts about it, right? So here's 4397, pro-America versus anti-America. Shadow Prez is highlighted, presidency, so we're talking about Obama. Shadow government, insurgency, irregular warfare. And that's what we're experiencing. So the swamp runs deep. They want you divided. They want you labeled by race, religion, class, sex, etc. Divided, you are weak, no collective power. Divided, you attack each other and miss the true target, them. MSDNC projection, scope and size meant to install fear and the basic follow the pack mentality. Psyche 101. Psych 101. Echo chamber, the news media, right? Group think, right? Everyone, the echo chamber is also the people around you. We all agree, right? We're talking to each other. We're all saying the same things. We're all in agreement, even though you're like a very small percentage. Oh, we're all in agreement, yay, right? So you psych yourself up into it, right? If the majority thinks XYZ, XYZ must be true. But if it's not the majority and you just think it is, uh-oh. Majority of people don't want you to destroy the country. Sorry. Reobtain power by any means necessary. Oh, I missed one. Pro-America versus anti-America. Reopen power by any means necessary. Prevent public exposure of truth. Prevent accountability. Your life means nothing to them, sheep. You are a vote when it matters, a $sign when it does not. Stand strong, stand together. Humanity is good. Unity is humanity. Unity is peace. Be strong in the Lord. Pray for strength. Pray for guidance. Pray for America. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Q. Very powerful. Very powerful. And of course we have, I don't even want to go over her, but anyway, 4398, compare and contrast the portrayal of POTUS versus, the Pelosi with the Bible. She always calling forth on her Catholic religion and saying this and that, and then we wouldn't do this because I'm Catholic and so on. That's all BS. Don't believe her for a moment. If her mouth is moving, we know she's lying. Okay, so POTUS walks to church, right? MSDNC says what? POTUS cleared peaceful protesters using tear gas and rubber bullets, attack on the humanity, racist, etc. Pelosi walks, right? MSC says, Pelosi, these are the ones that the people and the black community, the protesters reaching out her hand peacefully. Pelosi holds Bible. MSDNC fake pictures created of Hitler holding a Bible, projected white supremacy narrative. Pelosi holds a Bible. MSDNC Pelosi, Dems are blessed for our blessings for our black communities. Attempt to divide and control. It's such BS. All right, so St. Louis DA Kim Gardner is providing a safe zone for Antifa rioters. What does this mean? Safe zones, known, coordinated, means as soon as they go into jail, they're released. And what do? They go right back out of the street. Why? They're being paid to do so. $25 an hour to go out there and cause mayhem. Craziness. All right, here we go. So the last one for the day, which I think is interesting, 4400. The swamp runs deep, reference to the general swamp dog Mavis. Okay, I'm draining the swamp, and the swamp is trying to fight back. Don't worry, we will win. The swamp runs deep. Q. So POTUS has put this out there. So this was from September 5th, 2018. So they're reposting this. All right. Well, let's take our little journey back to the past, right? So we're gonna go. Oh, well, let's go to this one. We're gonna go back to around 34. So the reason I'm going to start here. This is the very first post of the 4th day of posting. I was going to start at the 3rd day, but I thought this one was good to include because it really then tells you, we're telling you what Q is right here and now, right? So Q clearance patriot. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of the shining light. On POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout which is slated to occur 11/3 upon the arrest of announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 4/11, confirmed to the public of what's occurring and will be revealed and not to be openly accepted. Now, this particular part, that I just read, I think is one of those things that was put in the past for what was going on there to engage everyone from the very first one, which talks about the very first Q post talks about Hillary's arrest. This plays into that. But that being said, going on, public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of most senior public officials. Think about that for a moment. what is on, what have we been talking about before the riots and in between Con Job 19, right? The whole story of the Russian collusion fell apart with Mueller, but still they had General Flynn. Now they tried to drop the charges on General Flynn, and they did everything they could. The judge just wouldn't let the court close out, because as soon as the case now is dismissed because the prosecutors aren't going to go forward, it all unravels. Flynn can now come out and say, this is what happened, these are the bad actors, and then they can start picking them up because all the proof is there. It's already laid out in front of all of us. We've already seen. So, public riots are organized to cover it up, right? So, on POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. So, a state of temporary military control. He did not say martial law. Interesting enough. And maybe there's a reason why we don't say martial law. I wonder who would be in control. Maybe someone that's on the top of the structure, right? Interesting. So, okay, false leaks have been made to retain several within confines of the United States to prevent eradication of special operators necessary. So they're creating false things out there to get them to go in the wrong directions. All right. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country has been exhausted in full. So they're prepared, right? They said, trust the plan. They know what's going on. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided, so many have fallen for the corrupt, evil narrative that has long been broadcast. And that's what we've seen, right? There is a division because people have been forced apart. Okay, we will be initiating an emergency broadcast system during this time as an effort to provide direct messaging, avoiding fake news to all citizens. So we can see that that's also was something that was tested and now put into place. Will it be in use? Will all of the media be taken down? All of the mainstream media, all the social media will all go down? That's all possible. All right. Look at the amount of censorship that has been kicking up. All right. And the last part here. So organizations and people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with a swift fury. Swift fury. So certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Certain laws? State of emergency in 50 states gives POTUS extreme authority. The Defense Production Act gives him extreme control over the apparatus of the corporate systems to tell them that, hey, you manufacture this. Hey, you do that. All right. Let's now keep going backwards, right? We'll go backwards. So, because we are forward in time, we're going to be heading back in time. So Q, on spent time not wasted. So basically, this is only the first two to 3 days, right? Q's come out with these posts. I'm hopeful my time spent here was not wasted. Note, few if any shills inside this thread. No trolls, in other words. Reason for that is being monitored, recorded, and analyzed, and don't want the clutter. All right, go back to the 32. The tide is turning. This November 1st. So this one was also November 1st. This one is the only one I have from November 2nd. Just keeping tabs. There's not many days all this came out, and it's all about right now. This week of booms. All right. So maybe one day, but it cannot go slow. The initial wave will be fast and meaningful. It will be send a signal to others immediately, and you will see the tide turn. Not even the MSM, mainstream media, can hide, and rest assured some will be jailed as deep cover agents. So it's saying they're going to arrest the media. Jim Acosta. I'm sure Trump will say, okay, into the jail with you, right? Okay, number 31. World stalemate. All right, so it's telling you what's going on. We have the goods on everyone else. What part of the reason why some things that are tied back to foreign heads of state will remain classified? Not all. So what parts of the reason why some things are tied back to the foreign heads of state will remain classified? So we're really saying that there are some things that the foreign heads of state that they're not going to reveal because they are not going to want to cause wartime a war to come out of this, right? War doesn't solve anything, and what we're dealing with is a war of a different type, but we don't want to get to where we're blowing up the whole countries, right? So certain things they're not going to reveal, but we are going to be changing everything. We're in one of the most critical times in our country. Trump and others are working to the balance that what we're doing well for America, for common persons to endorse. So all of this, what's been going on, all this lead up, all of the length of delay was for this reason right here, for the common persons to endorse. The common everyday Joe, the common everyday Mary, the everyday person that's going to work and not following politics, doesn't care because they know it doesn't help and they just need to pay their bills. But they need to know that there's been a problem, and really they knew that there was a problem, but they didn't know how to really cut through all the baloney, right? This is going to make it clear for them. Okay. While at the same time purify our government. Remove the bad actors from the who are entrenched. There is so much string pulling and blackmail that we need to cut off these off to truly gain power granted to us by the patriots and the hardworking people of this great country. So really, again, we're talking about how did the cabal keep control? They have their secrets, the people keep their secrets, and they keep the people's secrets that they're controlling, meaning the blackmail material. And how bad can they make the blackmail is how much more control. No wonder why the pedo industry was formed. The pedivore industry was formed. The adrenochrome harvesting. All of this. The most heinous acts to get people into that would go down that dark path, to have that blackmail material on them so that they would not ever turn against their masters. And that's what it's been. Going back to number 30, back in time, White House booby-trapped, right? Would you believe a device was placed somewhere in the White House that could actually harm to anyone in a room that would be, in essence, be undetected? Fantasy, right? When Trump was elected, you can't possibly imagine the steps taken prior to losing power to assure future safety and control. When it was reported Trump Jr. dropped his SS detail, why would he take a huge risk given what we know? Why would he drop his SS detail? Maybe they were infiltrated. Maybe he couldn't trust them. And as for so we'll finish this one. So I can hint and point, but I cannot give too many high classified data points. So Q is telling us this in the very first days, he can only hint and he can only point. And he hints by asking questions. Well, look at this. This is a question, right? This first one in kind of the purple color is a question, and then the next thing, fantasy, right? Question, question, question. Mostly it's questions. Question. Why? To give you pause to find out what the answers are, right? All right. So the last part here is the keywords and questions are framed to reduce sniffer programs that continually absorb and analyze data, then push to Z terminals for evaluation. Think X key SC on steroids. That's the something that was used by the NSA as a thing. The Snowden was brought up as their way of sniffing it, what people are showing the spy capabilities. So, so it's talking in the very first part here. Would you believe the device was placed somewhere in the White House that could actually cause harm to anyone in the room that would be, in essence, be undetected? You mean maybe that there was some remodeling done in the White House, and that remodeling was not for remodeling, but all the scaffolding and everything else that they put in there, maybe opening walls and putting things into the floor and then painting it all over. Maybe there was something else that was going on at that time. So let's go further back in time. Number 29, North Korea not run by Kim. Interesting. Some things must remain classified to the very end. North Korea is not being run by Kim. He's an actor in the play. Who is the dictator? The truth would sound so outrageous, most Americans would riot, revolt, reject, etc. The pedo networks are being dismantled. The child abductions for satanic rituals. Remember, this is the first few days of Q. Remember, that's what we're talking about. The child abductions for satanic rituals. Haiti and the third world countries are paused, not terminated until players are in custody, right? So they're talking about, you know, that they've shut down things, they've put things on, and they're mapping this all out to get a hold of them. How else could they do it unless they took control of the governing structure, removed people? It took them this long to get rid of people out the door, put in good guys, right? So they can find out where all of the bad guys were. And remember, Obama did these blanket pardons to all the people, right? So anything that they did prior to Obama leaving the White House and Trump coming in, they were pardoned for. So it all has to be about new crimes, unless it was treason. You can't pardon people for treason. At least I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, let's go back a little further. Number 28, the picture being painted, anonymous. What must be complete to engage military intelligence over the other three agencies during the 50s and 60s? Okay, so what must be completed to engage military intelligence over the other agencies? How can military intelligence take over the other three A-letter agencies? During the 50s and 60s, federal troops and federalized National Guard forces, accompanied by military intelligence professionals, were deployed to help interrogate Southern School 23 to help deal with the civil disorder in Detroit in 1967 and other cities following year after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 24. Throughout this period, military intelligence units also continued to collect data on Americans at home that were suspected of involvement in subversive activities. 25. In the late 60s, the Pentagon compiled personal information of more than 100,000 politically active Americans in an effort to quell civil rights and anti-Vietnam War demonstrations and to desecrate the protesters. Discredit the protesters. The Army used 1,500 plainclothes agents to watch, demonstrate, and infiltrate organizations and spread disinformation. So, how many have been now put into Antifa? Interesting, right? Accordingly to one report, the Army had at least one observer at every demonstration of more than 25 people. Okay, number 28. The Army's activities were summed up by Senator Sam Ervin, allegedly for the purpose of predicting and preventing civil disturbances which might develop beyond the control of the state and local officials. Sounds like right now, right? Army agents were sent throughout the country to keep surveillance over the way the civilian population expressed their sentiments about government policies in churches, on campuses, in classrooms, in public meetings. They took notes, tape recorded, photographed people who dissented in thought, word, or deed. This included clergy, editors, public officials, and anyone who sympathized with the dissenters. So this is what happened in the past. Sounds like that's going on now, right? Trump has had military intelligence, Antifa, and all dissenting local governments. So he's already been doing that, right? Okay, well done, picture being painted. Again, first few days of QAnon. Number 27, not all can be disclosed. Not everything can be publicly disclosed because so much ties back to foreign heads of state. Much will be revealed. We want transparency, but not the cost that we can't cover from them. So yeah. So for example, I mentioned yesterday that there was a reference to the original Constitution, our original Declaration of Independence, which talked about the sovereignty of the people of America, one being discovered in England. And I always wondered, what was Trump doing in England, you know, a year ago? Why was this all thrown together so quickly? Why did he meet with the Queen? Why all this pomp and circumstance that I never saw that for any of the other presidents, not even Reagan. They went there, they had them, but this was over the top. And my friends in England said that that was thrown together very quickly, which never occurs. They always have these things way played out in advance. But Trump was making that rounds. He went to meet with Kim Jong-un. He went to go meet with Abiy. He went to England. He went back around and came back there and did another thing. He met with the Emperor of Japan, the new emperor, and met with Abiy, and then went back. Now, then he went to England, and then they had all this pomp and circumstance. I thought this had to do with sovereignty. And what was the leverage to get out of the grasp of England, right? To be free from England, finally. Independence Day this next year is going to, and just like this, what, a couple months from now, or 1 month from now. Oh my, it's really 1 month from now. I didn't think about that. So Independence Day, 1 month from now, will be truly free. And I think that's what we're leading up to. That we're going to be really free, and maybe it's announced that we really have freedom. Now, is it going to be really overt and say we basically use the leverage as we had the evidence on what England did to us, and say, listen, we're gonna draw and quarter you over the world with what you've done to remove this president, right? Unless we come to an agreement and settle this and say we're free. I think that's what happened. You know what? I can't get the direct evidence of this. It's only circumstantial, but that's my take on it. We'll move on here. The only way is military. Number 26, right? Think about it logically. The only way is military, fully controlled, save and spread once 11.3 verifies the first marker. Biggest advance drop on population, on the people, I believe is what they're talking about. Now, what we're talking about here is this is the biggest advance drop. We're taking, the military has been involved in this from putting together this QAnon movement to the point of right now where this is where they played their card, the Antifa card, the rioting card, the putting bricks out there in places for people to pick them up and throw them, putting bottles, water bottles filled with gasoline in places for people to pick them up. Why? They wanted to basically cause all of these riots. And what Trump has done was use this as a way to point out, look at which are the governors, which are the mayors that are turning over their cities, or that are basically getting down on their knees and begging. And where they're showing also where the Black Lives Matter wants the white guys to go out and to kneel before them. I'm sorry, that's division. That's not shaking someone's hand eye to eye. What are you trying to do? The only white privilege that there is the one in the guy that's looking. You know, I don't see myself with white privilege. I've had my own hard knocks to deal with my whole life. I was born in a town that had a steel mill around it, where there was no jobs, no hope, no future for anyone, no matter what color you were. It's still that way today. I picked myself up and I left, and I changed my future. Anybody can do it. If you say because of the man's keeping you down, the only one keeping you down is you. Many successful people came out of every community. So, anyway, let's continue on here. Number 25. We don't say his name. Well, we know who that is. No Name McCain. So we've been first few posts, going right at it. All right. Follow up to the last post. Okay, so that's this one. So let's see what this is first. So number 24, draining the swamp. Any persons making statements that they will not be seeking re-election was put into submission for the betterment of the country, not for to be prosecuted, and who also will do as they were told. So you will see more of this occur, not normally yet disregarded, and even on the D side. So you'll see this on the Democrat side. So this is what we're talking. So return to comments. Pelosi and John No Name McCain. Some of us refuse to say his name for a reason. This has meaning. Everything stated. Big stuff. Few positions allow for this direct knowledge. So big picture stuff. So very few positions allow for this. Now I don't know if they're really talking about the core Q team here, or different heads of would Comey be involved in this, for example? I don't think so, right? Why would they have put him into the mix? Because he was still around at that time. At least I think so. Okay, proof to begin 11.3. We're really talking again. Is he now talking about this next election coming up? Or this is just one of those things that's put out there to basically, disinformation for purposes these days. We sincerely appreciate the work you do. Keep the good fight. The flow of information is vital. So we're flowing it right here. All right. Number 23. Okay. Military intelligence, NSA and CIA. Note, military intelligence has the same SAPs as NSA. SAPs, I don't know sure what that is. SAPs. As CIA and NSA, etc., designated post 9/11. Why is this relevant? SAPs don't know. Who can be held hostage and controlled? Right, people with blackmail. CIA thinks its foreign offshore assets are strong enough to defend against U.S. executive not accounting for military use on domestic soil. Excuse me. Why does the Constitution explicitly grant the authority of the president, and what is it to prevent? So that means the president has ultimate authority over the military, and it's basically designed to, in case the government is taken over for infiltration. That's what I would say. He has the he can be the one that takes charge and leads the way away from these traitors. All right, they knew our agencies would grow in power, so much so that they could hold an executive hostage or engage with bad actors. Yep, that is what happens with government. It keeps growing. Trump nominated someone new to direct every agency but one. He controls the top. Okay, number 22, National Guard and Marines. Okay, who controls the National Guard? Why? The National Guard was recently active in selected cities within the U.S. Can the National Guard work in coordination with the Marines? It's true, they can. And remember, Trump called up in February 125,000 Marines, and called up 1 million people last month into the armed forces. So, do conditions need to be satisfied to authorize? You know, there are conditions, right? When can Trump do this, right? Well, he has that authority now. He's a wartime president. They've kind of forced it on him, right? Right? They said, oh, you have to use the Defense Production Act. Oh, we need a state of emergency in every state. So he's got all 50 states on the emergencies, and then they gave him all these powers. So all these, now the other conditions are insurrection, right? And so now we see the insurrection is now underway with Antifa. So what former president used military to save the republic, and what occurred exactly? Was that Abraham Lincoln? Wasn't Trump sitting in front of Abraham Lincoln just recently, like 2 weeks ago, talking about the con job 19? All right, biggest drop ever to be provided on the population. Study and prepare. The masses tend to panic in such situations. No war, no civil unrest, clean and swift. I think that's really the key, what we're talking about here. No war, no civil unrest, clean and swift. They're going to remove them. Okay, and number 21, I've dumped some crumbs like this over the weekend, which started to intense shilling. That at this point, we are far enough along that we can paint the picture without risk of jeopardizing the operation. All right, so now you know the previous 20 posts, which is these. We're going to continue. We're going down to post 1. We've got 20 to go, but we're going to go a little bit faster through these. So, how many military generals were on the White House list to attend a separate meeting? Was A.G. Sessions there? Who did POTUS meet with yesterday? Right, and we're we're talking the same couple of days where QAnon started posting, and Durham got started, and Sessions was there. So was Durham there? Is that what they were talking about? Who did POTUS meet with yesterday? Why were certain rooms in the White House renovated? Maybe there was a reason. Maybe they needed to remove certain things. Where was the meeting on Monday? Why aren't phones allowed in this room? Skiff, right? So what firm was contracted to conduct the renovations? That's interesting, don't know. All right, going now to 19. So what happens if D's lose their slave grip on the black population? Why do D's, through funding of the CIA, prop up and install Hollywood media assets? How does this fall within Operation Mockingbird? So we're really talking about, you know, this is the control that the Democrats have over the black population. Number 18, okay, why did Mueller meet protests one day prior to the FBI announcement that Mueller could not be the offered the director due to his previous term limits rule? Of course, they already knew that. So what was the reason he was there? Maybe they made him an offer he could not refuse. That's my guess. Number 17, why did Obama trail POTUS? So why does Obama travel in advance of POTUS to foreign locations? Well, he knows where he's going to go, and so Obama goes there. Shadow presidency. So they were pointing it out right in the very beginning, right? Number 16, MAGA promise. POTUS knows he must clean house in order to free up and demonstrate who has authority in order to pass important legislation. Anyone to think POTUS is not in control is kidding themselves. He's going to keep his promises. Okay, number 15, the more good people than bad, right? So we know what that's pretty good. Okay, so now here's 14. This is really November 1st, the Durham boat, right? First, it's a sturdy boat used to cross the channel, right? So no one knew what they were talking about, but no one even knew that this was called Durham boat back then. So what must be completed to engage military over the three-letter agencies? All right, we kind of covered some of this. Why was Trump asked to run for president? Why and by who? Well, the military asked him. Who guards the president? Why is this relevant? That's the Secret Service. Who guards HRC? Secret Service. Why is Antifa allowed to operate? Okay, and then what happens if Soros funded operations get violent and engage in domestic terrorism? Well, then he can be labeled as a terrorist, right? What happens if mayors and police comes in? Oh, so we did kind of cover this, right? Well, how is POTUS already 5 steps ahead? It's the military. Okay, number 13, POTUS Asia trip. Now think about the timing of POTUS traveling to China and South Korea. I've said too much, God bless. Military intelligence continues. Military intelligence reference above, which is actually below, is the biggest site drop, unless you're supposed to read these backwards. It might turn out that might be the case. Inside drop the board will ever receive. Military intelligence reference above is absolutely the biggest inside drop this board will ever receive. So this one right here. This is the biggest. Okay. Military intelligence versus FBI, CIA, NSA. No approval for congressional oversight. State secrets upheld under Supreme Court. Who is the commander-in-chief of the military? The President, Trump. Under what article can Trump impose military intelligence take over intelligence investigation for the three-letter agencies? So isn't that interesting? Again, first day of this, or maybe it's the second day. What conditions must be present itself? Why is this so very important? Well, it's because it's the uprising, right? It's this insurrection taking place. They have to show the governors, so everyone has to be exposed, right? The Democrats or any of the governors, even there's Republican governors as well, that are following in these same footsteps, meaning that they're not stopping the rioting. They want things to burn down. They want the chaos. Okay, they lost this very important power. The one area government not corrupt and direct serves POTUS. That's the military. Also says who serves surrounds POTUS? The military. Number 10, Clinton Foundation investigation. Well, we'll just bypass that. Dems control black population. We already know about most of that. We'll go down to this one. Okay, Aberdeen's dilemma. So again, just talk about Muslim Brotherhood, the connection, this is another part of this insurrection, is the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration of the government. Number 7, Hillary Obama email gate, right? So why wasn't Hillary prosecuted for email? Simply put, Obama ultimately okayed by using the non-government email to communicate with Clinton. Obama also had the alias among which of his cabinet members. So he had an alias. He also went on the gaming systems, right, on the Xbox and that to communicate, because when they lost the ability to use the satellites, and that was all broken because Trump broke that down, and QAnon went through that, they resorted to game systems, and they had aliases in those game systems. Okay, number 6, POTUS 100% insulated, so he's protected. Number 5, follow the money, it is key. So what if No Name McCain ever had surgery, and that was a cover for a future out against if he's getting prosecuted? So a lot of them, all of them are going to say, oh, I've got the coronavirus, I'm sick. Oh, then they actually end up dead or fake death. Right. Why does Soros transfer bulk of his public funds to a nonprofit? Because anyone accused of human trafficking or caught up in that can have all their assets taken. Anyone caught up in, so this is part of the any of these. So if he's a terrorist, he can have all of that confiscated. So this is why he donated it, right? He still maintained control. Why does Soros' son have several meetings in Canada, Canadian Prime Minister, and how is that related to the Clintons? Good questions, right? Why is MS-13 a high priority? Nobody got this, right? Well, that's the hired muscle, right? These are the people that will actually do the hit jobs that they're asked to do. Number 4, POTUS 100% insulated. More about this, so he's insulated. Number 3, open your eyes. Uranium One scandal. Well, this is Hillary and her colluding with Russia, right? Number 2, Hillary Clinton detained, not arrested yet. So we're talking about this. So this information is really talking about how is Hillary involved with this. So this is the very first post. Now I might be off, as this is a 29th of October. I don't know if my time interferes. Maybe it's one day later, or one day earlier than this. But Hillary Clinton will be arrested between 8:45 and 8:30 Eastern Standard Time Monday, right? So there's this anonymous little post, right? And then this reply: Hillary Clinton extradition already in motion, effective yesterday with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport approved to be flagged, effective 10:30. Expect massive riots, right? Expect massive riots and defense against others fleeing to the U.S. to occur. Where's Nancy Pelosi? Is she going back to Washington? Maybe. I don't know. Just wondering. U.S. militaries will conduct the operation while National Guard is activated. Excuse me. Okay, proof check. Locate National Guard member and ask him, if you're on duty on 10:30 across major cities. All right, so that's the beginning of QAnon. So just talking about this, this at that time being posted is what got people really locked into QAnon. For the very first post, they're talking about something that everyone is upset about Hillary, right? When is she going to get arrested? When, right? Trump said in his debate against her, because you'd be in jail, right? Remember? So people were expecting it. So this is, I think, what caught everyone to resonate with QAnon from the very before. I think that's what this is about. But also in this, the important part is expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. I think that's the important thing to take out of this, and to know that what we're talking about is the military's been behind this all this time. And what we can really know is that there is something happening right now in front of us where we can tell that the government is gearing up for something. The lens is on all of those that are basically not showing themselves as shutting down the crowd. Let me pull up something. 1 second. I have an image here. I think yes, this one. Oh, let me bring that back up. Close all these. Sorry, I just wanted this one image. Okay, protests have erupted in at least 75 cities across the United States. Get that, 75 cities. You think that's coordinated or just by chance because of George Floyd, right? In the days after George Floyd, a black man died in police custody. So National Guard is activated in the yellow states, right? And the protests are from Wednesday. So this is all from yesterday. So interesting how many places the National Guard has not been called in as of yet. So that's what I wanted to leave you with. This is a week to remember. This is the time that we need to look and be careful at what we're doing. Don't get drawn into the violence. Don't create the violence. It's very engaging, right? So obviously you may have to fight if you get into a position where you have to defend yourself. You must do that. But we can see that that things are in motion right now. That there is a trap that's now being ready to just snap shut. And I think that's what we're seeing right here. It's really set. It's really soon. Is it tomorrow? Is it the next day? Is it within the next 5 days? Something is about to happen, and it's going to be swift. So until tomorrow, I'm going to suggest that you look up my Parler. I am growing on Parler. I'm going to bring that back over here for a moment. Please participate in Parler. This is where I'm posting right now. I have now 45 followers. It is going up every day. Please participate over here. Again, Dan Bongino has 200,000 followers here. That means that we can have 200,000 followers over here. Please participate. They are not going to censor us. We can talk here. Facebook is a lost cause. All right. Twitter, though it has being used by POTUS right now, it could disappear at any time, and this Parler replaces that. Let's build over here. So until tomorrow, please do what you can to be safe, be prepared, buy some extra food. This is not over. They're not going to give up, but some swift things are going to happen, but things can get dicey. So be prepared. Until then, we'll talk to you tomorrow.